Well, what's up, folks? Good day, good day. Welcome back. Can you guys hear me? We got audio. Somebody give me a thumbs up.
We got you, Chris.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, it's about 5 till. What we are going to do right now, I'm going to address, we got some admin things I want to address before we kick off today. So take notes. The first item is attendance. If you can make it here, good. The goal is to show up and be here where you get the best experience out of this learning, right? That is the goal. That's why I say this is a little different than the other courses because I could just give you a video and you could go watch it, right? You could just go buy a video and watch it, but I want to give you more than that because a lot of us don't really learn like that. That's not our preferred method. We need a little bit of this because we're so virtual these days, right? And this course, this exam, you can get the most out of the training preparation if you get more of this. So that's the first thing with that, all right? So do your best to show up. I'm actually going to update the the syllabus to reflect attendance. That way, it's laid out. If you miss some time, it's about 10%, 15% of time if you miss, even it's virtual. I can't give you a certificate of training. So also what I have to do is implement some type of mechanism so when you watch it, you said you watched it and I have a record of it. So I'll be putting that together in the next few days because we have this is a large class. Normally with like 30 or 40 is not a big deal, but I just want to just implement that so it's not an ongoing thing for me every day to address people's attendance. All right, I said it in the rundown, and you've heard me say it before, and I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna show up for you, but you got to show up for yourself if you want this. And I know life happens, and I understand that. Uh, but I have to be fair to the other people that's here, and my attention is here. So if you come here, that's where my focus is here, right? That's where my focus is here. Uh, the next thing is the drive link. I tried to. That's what happened when you start getting fancy. So what I'm gonna do. See, when you try to be fancy, things might not, things fall through the cracks. So what we're gonna do from here on out, when the recording is processed by Zoom, I'm gonna drop it in our shared drive. And today, right now, if you're on here, I'm gonna give you the link right now in the chat. So if everyone would stop chatting, um, and this is where you got to show up to get the game, right? You got to show up to get it because it's not fair to the people that's here, So here is the link. I'm gonna put it in the chat, and I've done my best to organize this drive link so everything is in there. And I'm gonna share my screen um, to make sure you guys see what I'm seeing. That is whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, cool. So right now, this is my drive you're looking at, and the link I shared with you is to this folder. When you click on that link, you should see course references, PMBOK guide, and all the documents that you need for this course. All right, they should be in there. The next one is the course syllabus. This is where I put the course syllabus, and I will put the update, and then also that form for verifying that you watched the video. All right. Module 1, we're in Module 1. Module 1 will end on Saturday. So each week is a module. And that's where I'm putting all the content, the slides, and the video. So right now you can see I have the day 1 slides in there. And then I have the day 1 video. And while I'm in here, the homework. The homework is at the end of the lesson. That's where the homework, you will find it. It's at the end of the lesson, right there. That's where the homework is. So and this is the video. The video is right there. You're gonna get what you got. I'm not editing it. That's 2 hours of content. I'm not cutting nothing out. So you gotta sit there and watch it like it was recorded. Uncut. And you even get the after party. Even if you had to cut out early. So you get to hear the after party. Right? I usually don't do that because those who want to hang around can hang around. They put the time in to get the conversation. Right? So I'm gonna be fair. I don't want to be a knucklehead about it. I want everybody to have this opportunity to prepare themselves for the exam. So that's the video and the links to the training. And each week I will drop, so week 1 to be here, week 2, week 3, week 4, and I just drop those items. So this is where you need to go. You got any questions about anything, go here first, read the syllabus. I try to do the best as I can to put as much content in here so you don't have to email me and wait for me or try to message me. I try to put everything right here to answer all your questions. And if then that is not happening, then you should go ahead and email me, and I'll try to get it resolved. Because I do work full time too. So if you're emailing me and I haven't responded in hours because I'm project managing that work, I'm the PMO director where I work, right? And if you know what the PMO does, I'm making sure everybody is project managing right, right? I'm setting standards and making sure people are following the PMBOK guide and using a little bit of theory to help them in reality, right? So if you have any questions about that, to shoot them in the chat or something like that. One more thing I want to address now: the school community. This is I want to let you know about the school community. Everybody in the school community has not signed up for this course. All right, so I haven't sectioned it off yet, but if you're talking about this course, you're going to confuse some of the people in there, right? So if you maybe I need to just create a thread for that and section it off, but just know, don't share any links in there. Because if they're not in this class, it's not time for them to be in the class, right? So don't share this drive, even though you could share it with anybody, right? There's no restrictions, but do that for us so we can keep everybody here that is signed up to be here right now, and that's going to be contributing to the learning. Because I'm not only instructing here, but my goal is to get all of you to share and collaborate with each other and help each other through this process. That's the first. If you ever come back for Act Now's 3 cert cohort, that's how that happens. They create small groups, little teams, and they work together and they study together to get through that together. They're not training and studying by themselves. So that's what I'm trying to create, that type of synergy here, is that you guys help each other out, post questions. I get in there. I like to get in there. That's easier for me to get in there and answer questions than to do one-off emails, because somebody else might have that same question and then somebody might beat me to it and answer it before I get to it. And so that's why it's good to just post your questions in there. And when I'm sitting down for the day, I just like to go in there and see what's going on. So I hope that cleared up anything. Anybody got anything about the admin stuff? How do you access files? How do we get the videos, the slides, the homework? Does anybody have any questions about that? Cool. I take silence as a yes.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I missed where you said where I could find this again, because I just went to the email, and when I clicked on the link in the email, all of these items didn't come up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just reshared, I
Okay,
reorganized everything. If you look in the chat and I share it again,
okay, okay. Oh no, that's the attendance.
I share it again. Give me a second. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay, I think I found it. Said Google Drive. I found it.
There we go. That's the Google Drive, right? And those of you who are just getting here, here's the attendance. Hola? Did I say it right?
Yeah, you're right.
Ah, yes. Hooked on. That's that Dade County public
Uh,
school education right there.
yeah, so when you said the homework, are you referring to the one under references, the PMP examination content outline, or where can we find the homework? Is it the one in uh ChatGPT?
No. I'll show it to you right now. So the
Yeah.
homework, um, at the end of the classes, if at the end, I give the homework assignment. So the homeworks will always be at the end of the presentation. So the homework from Tuesday session was to review what we covered. That's always the homework. Review what we covered in class and prepare for the quiz. You're going to get a 10-question quiz today once I finish uh, reviewing this. And then the other part of the homework is to review for the next section. So that day you have in between, you should be reviewing for the next session, which is today. So Wednesday you should have reviewed for Thursday. And if you just follow the syllabus, you have the references. That's the implied. Review what you covered and read ahead and review what's coming up next. So if you don't know what you should be doing on those days off, that's what you should be doing. An hour, 30 minutes, however much time you can allocate to it. So review what we covered and then review what's coming up. That's your homework from here on
Sounds
out.
good. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. All right. The attendance. I just dropped a big attendance. Study, review, repeat. Yes, there we go. It's an iterative process. Each iteration, we just gonna keep going. So let's do this. I'm gonna stop and let's get into it. Now this quiz is something's going on here. Cool. There we go. This quiz is 10 questions related to what we covered in our first session. You'll have 10 minutes to complete it, and then we'll move on. So let me get that. Let me get that populated for you, and I'm gonna put it in the chat. There we go. It's a quick. Anybody watch Top Chef? Any Top Chef? No? Okay. Well, they have this session in Top Chef where all these chefs, great chefs, they come and compete to see who's going to be the top chef. So what we're doing here, I like to call it the quick fire. They have a quick fire challenge where you got to cook a meal in like 10 minutes or 20 minutes, right?
I've
So here,
watched that.
yeah, see, there we go. I got one in here. You know where I'm going with this. So here you are. You got 10 questions. You got 10 minutes. Even though you have a minute and 27 seconds on an exam for each question, I'm putting some stress on you. I'm preparing you to move through this thing quickly. That's the point of these quick fires, is to speed up your processing. It's to speed you up. So when you're on the exam, you're thinking like this. You're not like, ooh, you know. So this is the practice we are doing here for this. So here's the link for the quiz. And let me know if you're having any issues with this. Boom, boom. I'm putting it in there. Quiz, 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 quiz. Boom. That should be it right there. Let me see. Yep, that's it. So let me know. Everybody should have it. It's about it's 12 after, wherever you
How
are.
do I see it? I don't.
You
Is it in
didn't
the
you didn't
chat?
post it in the
So what? It's in the chat, right?
You just sharing your screen on it. We don't see it in the chat.
Wait. Hold on. You know
Yeah,
why?
it's not in the
Because
chat.
I just noticed I'm in somebody else's feed sharing it with them. There we go. You see it now?
Yep.
There we go. Cool. Thank you for that. I think Kamaya, she got all the links in her feed somehow. I ended up.
I do.
Yeah. Cool. So you got 10
So
minutes, 22 after, so we'll stop. All right, cool. I'm reading your comments. Got it. I corrected on 10. If you chose B on 10, you're right. If there's a repeated question, then cool. I hope you answered it twice correctly. All right. What do y'all think? Let me look at the scores. Actually, from the first, I'll share this with you really quick before we start, just to kind of give you guys a look. This is what you guys did for the practice 25 question. If you took the 25 questions practice exam, the bar chart shows you where everybody's at. That's good. Nobody's down on the far left end, right? So that's good. Everybody, majority of you on the far right, and that's a good place to start. Some of you are hitting 100s, and you're in a good place. So if you are over here, far right, as I'm looking at it on the screen, then you're in a good place. If you're not over there, then you need a little, you know what you have to do. Those areas those questions that you mark incorrectly, those are the areas where you should be going back and studying and see what you missed and get a better understanding of those areas. As we go through this and you do these practice questions, that is the process. The questions you are getting incorrect, that's what you need to study. It makes no sense studying the stuff you already know, right? The goal is to fill in the gaps in your knowledge. So if you're getting things right, then don't keep studying it to make yourself feel good. It's a false sense of security, okay? So study what you're getting wrong. If you're getting things wrong, that's good right now. Don't think it is like, oh man, I'm lost. No, you just don't know. It's not that you're lost. If you haven't studied it yet, then you need to, and that's where we are right now. This is the practice. Once again, you guys are in a good place as a group, right? So you're in a good place as a group. So just take that feedback. It's just a quick little shot to see where you are. Just by the show of hands in the chat, who over the last day or so has done 5 to 10 questions for study? Give me a thumbs up. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So if you haven't, that is the practice you want to get into, is getting those questions in every day, 5 to 10 questions. Get in there and just study some questions. I think, Jeff, I'll take a couple questions and then we're going to take off. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, I always have trouble getting off mute. So I'm feeling pretty good with the practice questions, the 25 and the 10. I think I scored a 9 out of 10. The one that's trumped me, I'm gonna do some review on my own, but it said that number 9 was all EEFs, even the internal stuff. So what am I missing in terms of theory there? Because I thought the internal things that were internal to the organization were OPAs. No.
Anybody want to help him out with that?
There are internal and external EEFs.
Yeah,
So I
I
guess the
think Jeff,
question more so is, what is the difference between internal EEFs and then the OPAs? Like, what's the differentiation? I guess my question.
I think the key to that, Jeff, is because it's out of your control.
So the basics, the quickest way to determine OPAs and EEFs, OPAs are internal to the organizations and you have some type of control, or you can go and change those things. And those are mostly company policies, procedures, or things like that. EEFs are environmental, enterprise environmental factors. Those are like laws and regulations outside the organization, but they also could be internal to the organization, but outside the project team or your department. So if said department has these rules and they make the rules, then you have to go by their rules. You can't change those rules, right? So those are things that you have no control over.
So if
Is
you're
it
in
on
if
them?
you're in shipping, if you're in shipping and doing stuff there, and now you have IT coming in with a policy for your, even though it's internal to the company,
Yeah.
it's external to you, department in shipping. You have no control over that. So it's EEF.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, the way now that with those explanations, I appreciate y'all. It's clicking now.
Thanks.
So
Mhm.
Awesome.
appreciate y'all. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Go ahead, Bruce.
Also, the
Bryce?
securing the server part within the question.
Okay. Bryce, go for it.
Yep. So I was for number 5 for the most accountable of a project success. Wouldn't that be the project owner? Because like you could have multiple project managers
So
on a project.
so let's so this is a question on lexicon. Is there such thing as a project owner? What about agile people?
Well, I would say product owner, but
But that's what
sure.
that's
Yeah,
what the that's how this exam is, sir.
copy.
Right? Remember, lexicon matters here. Like words mean things here. So the theory side of it says product owner. Cool. All right. All right, let's go. Let's get into it. Let me get that going. Let me, okay, something's going on. Stop. Cool. Looks like you guys can see my screen. Awesome. So we're going to get into, this is a part 2. We did the quick fire. Here's what we're going over today. I would suggest take out your exam content outline. All right, you're gonna need that beside you because the way these sessions are organized, we're gonna hit those and go in and talk about those in each domain, right? So hence, have that out by you. We will be operating out of the PMBOK guide mostly today because a lot of the stuff we're gonna talk about today is leadership. If you are a big fan of leadership, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are, you should have a good time with the people questions because you should know this content already. If you're a senior leader and you've been in a leadership position, you should have a good understanding of leadership and how it works, how to motivate people, how to resolve conflict, how to deal with stakeholders, how to deal with vendors, how to deal with difficult people. You know, you should understand this at this point in your career. So most people do really well on this people part of the exam, and some of it can be you have to learn the PMI way. Once you figure out, and what we're going to talk about today is like some of the leadership principles and the way PMI looks at leadership. Once you adopt that, then you'll have no problem with the people-centric questions on this exam. So in the sense of theory and reality, you're right here with PMI. If you're a senior leader, you got good leadership skills, you should be really even or slightly uneven with them until you learn what their thought of leadership is as it pertains to project management and the way we should be working as project managers. Then we'll do some check on learning like always, and then we'll wrap it up and get you guys out of here. So just people domain overview once again. Talking about leadership, the mindset tools you need to lead and motivate people. We'll be using PMBOK Guide 7. There are some items in the process group, the practice guide, the process group. I think I mixed matched that up, and then also the exam content outline. This is going to tell us those project tasks we should be able to execute as project managers as it pertains to PMI and the exam. All right, here's some key points. Collaboration and empowerment. That's what PMI is favoring, right? So you should always be looking towards collaborating with someone in some kind of way if there's if there's some conflict between you and that person. All right, so we're talking about managing conflict. That is domain one in people domain task 1. That's what we're talking about. When it comes to those questions on the exam, you want to choose those questions that talk to collaborating and communicating and solving the problem. You will also see items on that says escalate. In reality, real world, it depends the protocol in your organization. You might have an automatic escalation if there's an issue. I think back to my military days as a, platoon sergeant, first sergeant, whatever. You got to go through that process. You give them a verbal, you put it on paper, and if they do it again, they get in Article 15, they go into the commander. You're going to take some money, right? That's what you should be doing as a project manager. Try to work it out yourself. If it happens again, document it, put it on paper, or depending on where you are in most of the organizations in reality, it's when it goes on paper, you probably have already mentioned it once before. All right, so that's what you're doing here. So just remember that if there's a question there that says escalate, then you might want to pull back and assess the situation and see if there's an answer that says, hey, let's collaborate and talk about this. Or an action that's, in a sense, being passive, that you're not solving the problem or the conflict, you're going around it, or you're putting it off till later. Those are pitfalls and exam traps you want to stay out of. So do not push something off for later, because that's what we do in reality. Some leaders don't like conflict. They try to avoid it. And so they will push it off till later. They will flick the booger on somebody else, or they'll just straight ignore it. But you can't do that on this exam, right? You have to resolve the problem. You have to be assertive, and you have to make things happen. So this is the PMI, I would say, iron triangle for project managers as it pertains to what they want us to know. So power skills, reworded from soft skills. And that's what they are. Those interpersonal skills, how well do we negotiate? How well we deal with stakeholders? Those are the things that PMI will be looking for, and that's what we're going to be talking about. That arm of the triangle, our power skills, leadership. All right. Here's an exam tip for you. Oh, excuse me, not there yet. I'm reading ahead. Conflict resolution techniques. This is what they're suggesting that we do, right? Collaborate, problem solve is the first. That's the best long-term solution. And speaking of best, the exam wants you to select not the right answer, but what is the best answer for that scenario, right? I think a lot of folks get caught up in like, well, what's the right answer? It could be 2 right answers, but it also depends on the process of where you are in that situation or that scenario. The worst thing we want to do is withdraw or avoid, right? We're not going to have a good outcome, and it's only going to be temporarily, right? It's only going to be a temporary solution, and that's what we don't want. When you're on this exam and you get leadership questions or any question, think about, will this solve the problem? Am I solving the problem by doing this, right? Am I solving the problem? That's what you want to do with these questions. How am I solving the issue? And that's what you should be focusing on when you are going in between, compromise, reconcile. Yeah, if you can't do a win-win for each as a leader, for example, if you're having some conflict with a functional manager because you're in a weak matrix and you really need that thing, then you got to figure out, how to work it out. You might have to. They might be a difficult person, or their ego might be a little inflated. So you have to play to that, right? That's the power skills. You might have to play with that. And sometimes that's what in reality, that's what we got to do sometimes, right? We got to play to people's ego and get what we want. That's what we have to do. No matter how, I wouldn't feel no kind of way about it at work especially if that person's senior than me and they probably have something to do with signing my check. I'm definitely going to make sure I don't get fired. But if it's a peer or maybe someone who doesn't have that type of influence on you, but you just got to get your job done. So you do your best. Say, hey man, let's collaborate. What's the best way? You take the high road, and what do you think is the best solution? Okay, cool. Let's go with that, right? And so if you could get what you want out of discussion versus this is what we need to do, and you don't own anything, so you got to figure out how to play in the sandbox, right? So here's the exam tip. If a question involves conflict, look for collaborate or problem solve as the best PMI answer, right? How am I going to solve the problem? I tried that. It didn't work. Oh, they're talking about something else. Okay. I'm getting caught up in the chat. Sorry about that. But that's going to be your goal. Collaborate, cooperate. Okay? Collaborate, cooperate. Let's talk about this. What is the most common source of conflict you've seen in your projects? Anybody want to share? Who's got some, who's the conflict resolution guru here? Who's done it? Anybody?
I can step up on that, Chris.
Go for it.
As a recruiter, I dealt with conflict all the time from all different aspects of people. And I think it's funny because it's a technique that none of us felt was actually true, and we didn't believe it until we put it into practice, and oh my gosh, it worked. So besides the general stuff that you might hear, whatever, but the technique is feel, felt, found, and that works. I've used it on my kids, I've used it on my wife, and it's crazy. And it goes something like this. You're going to get something like, and you're going to say, I completely understand how you feel. Many others have felt exactly the same way. What I have found is, and then you just insert something, whatever. Right? What I found is if we can just get through this time, or if we can just find a solution together, we'll be able to make the project work together. And I have used that on so many different avenues and approaches. So when we tell other recruiters, and we're like, I can't believe this happened. Like, hey man, I understand how you feel. We say, don't use that felt crap on me, because we know what we're using on each other. But if you really do try feel, felt, found, it is, it's an amazing tool that I would like to share with y'all. Feel, felt, found. That's what I got.
I like it. I'm writing that down. Feel, felt, found. Okay. I'm digging it. See, I'm getting game here tonight. Like, whoa. Give game, get game. Awesome. Yeah. Y'all heard that, right? Get some of that. That'll help in our relationships at home. I've been there. You know what? Sometimes there's a lot of conflict. That one's hard. I'm not going to even go there, but that one's hard. It's different. So anybody a John Maxwell fan? Anybody read any of his books? Won't work on my wife. Somebody knows their wife well. No. I'm a big John Maxwell fan, and I love his books. And that sounds like something that John Maxwell would say. Being a servant leader and it's hard sometimes, though. It's hard, especially in the workplace. It's hard. But that's what we have to do. The best project managers I think in the military, based off of my experience, the warrant officers are kind of those people in the middle. They always have to be level, especially on an SFA team. We have a warrant officer, we have a senior enlisted, and then we have an officer, usually a young captain, just coming out of the course. But the warrant officer's been there longer on the team than longer than the team sergeant and longer than the detachment commander. So they've seen it all. Back in the day, they had 2 or 3 MOSs, but they were always cool. They were always the good ones, because then there were some that weren't so good. But the good ones that I've seen in my career, they're just like that. They always come through like a glass of ice cold water, and they smooth things out. And everybody's like, "Hey, Chief, that's good stuff." So when it comes to leadership, this is what the leadership styles of PMI theory, right? Leadership. So all the leadership stuff, leadership theory. I remember in the Army, the leadership was very high level, and it was more of a situation leadership based off of the skill level of your subordinates. So if you have subordinates that are not that skilled, you're going to be more directive and kind of like micromanage them a little bit until they develop skill. Then you will pull back and you will let them participate in the decision making and how to go about getting things done. And then as their skill improves some more, then you delegate, right? And that was the leadership style at base level. So these are leadership styles. Servant leadership, I would say, considered closely to what we experience, most of us in the military, because it's always, as the leader, we're taught to put ourselves last, not really last, but put our subordinates and soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines first, right? We take care of the welfare of our team, and that's what servant leadership is within a PMI. As you can see, agile and hybrid teams, servant leadership all day long, right? If you want to influence change in an organization, then you will use something more of a transformational leadership style where you're working through different leadership practices to help or influence the teams to change things or the whole organization. In more predictive environments, it's like, do this, get this, do this, get this. So I would say that transactional leader is more of a directive type person, because they're thinking about getting the project done and following the processes. There's no room for flex. This is how we're doing it. We agreed upon it. Let's stick to the plan. Let's stick to the plan. Let's stick to the plan, right? And this one could be a little bit laissez-faire, right? This could be a little bit, even though it says mature teams, but I would reframe this to be someone who delegates. If you're using that type of leadership style, you're dealing with mature team members, project team members have been around, or you have worked with each other for some time. And that's where that trust was built. Trust is built through your time and space working together. And so that leadership with them, or that relationship with them, will determine what leadership style that you're going to use with that person. And on the other hand, I've seen laissez-faire leadership where they kind of just go with the flow. If something is happening, then they're going to be passive about it. They're not going to address the issue. They're like, oh, this is a Passover. Let's just work through it. You know, those type of people, versus like, let's stop and let's resolve this because it's going to hurt us later on. So these are the leadership styles that PMI are saying, like, hey, when you're in the world of project management, these are the leadership styles that are most best for you. And depending on the scenarios on the exam, when you're reading those questions, think about what's going on in the scenario in the people domain, right? So if you are,
Hey, Chris, I apologize to interrupt your flow. You said this is going to be coming from the PMBOK. Can you hear
yes,
me?
yes.
What section within the PMBOK
Excuse me,
is
my
this
bad,
coming
my
from?
bad, my bad. I'm in pages. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Pages, project management principles, pages 21 through, because they all go to 21 through. Give me a second. Just remind. Thanks for that. Jog my memory
It
there.
says 21 through 60, Chris,
Yeah,
on your
60.
slide.
21 through 60. And then also, let me do this right now while I'm thinking about it. I wanted to share this with you all. In the chat, there's a document. Make sure I send it to everybody. It's called a 12 project management principles. Right? If you remember in PMBOK Guide 6, we had the 10 knowledge areas. Right? So that has PMBOK Guide 7 has adopted 12 project management principles. Right? Still in the same realm, but it's more leadership based. This PMBOK guide from 6 to 7, 6 was more process based. They talked about leadership there in the project management role, but PMBOK guide 7 focuses on leadership because leadership influences outcomes and organizations, right? So that's where you have, when you look at the two, they're kind of set up a little different. And that's where in the process group guide, that's where you have all the process groups, the ITTOs, and all those items that you normally see from PMBOK Guide 6 is in this group. I wouldn't say it's based. Is that the base of Agile? No, that's another set, and I'm going to share that with you also. That's another handout. So you have the project management domains, and then you have the project management principles, and then you have the Agile for core values, and you have the 12 principles of Agile. Right? And we'll get to that when we get into processes, and I'll have you a handout. You can read ahead too. So since you're already, I think Dwayne, if I said that correctly, go out there, put that on your read list. Go and read the Agile Manifesto. All right, go read that. We haven't gotten to that part yet, but go read that and get ahead if that's on your mind. I just shared. Someone just asked, did I share the? Yeah, don't stop in the chat. I share it again, and it's also in your. It's also in the documents that I share. It's in your drive, so you could get it now and look at it, or you could get it later. Just to let you know. And in this, I'm not going in any particular page because they're all over the place. If you really want to see the leadership part is what we're talking mostly about. That's on page 40 to 43 in the PMBOK Guide 7. Page 40 to 43. And that's the leadership principle. That's the one we're focusing on right now is leadership. So with that being said, thanks for that. This is a good stopping point. Let's take 10. Let's take 10 minutes and come back about 2 after the hour. Cool.
What, the same spot? I'm wondering that every time you put something tight on it, it seems like it's hurting. Look, I'm gonna pick you up to go.
It's a hot mic. Hot
Hot
mic.
mic.
Hey, Chris and team, I found that if you're in the Pinbox 7th guide, if putting in the page number, if you put STD before the number, then that works fine. My pages seem to be numbered as
A
STD.
better one,
and
I'm in
whatever.
section 3.6. Section 3.6. That means section 3 of the Pinbot guide, like, section 6, right? So 3.6 is the section. Look for that. I make sure I put that because if I was you, I would just go out and buy one or get your hands on one. There are a couple of used ones out there, give them like $20 because I'm just not a fan of PDFs. So I just like touching the book, but I'll make sure to put that out if they don't have the pages there. Thanks for that.
Yeah, for some reason my PDF.
Yeah, it's the same way. It's the same way,
Yeah, I was looking at the screenshots you guys are sending. I was like, my pages look completely different. So I
Yeah, it's well, that's hey man, we shoestring budget here. Right? So that's what we get. That's what we get. Somebody figured out a hack. I think it was Jeffrey. He figured out a hack. So let's use that. That's a good one too. Let me get some water.
Hey, Chris, what's the best way of getting back in project management after being out about 4 years?
Was that getting back into it?
Yes.
Where are you located?
Tampa, Florida.
Oh, you in Tampa? Okay. I
I
will
don't
be.
like it.
You don't like it? Where are you originally from?
From Florida, from Central Florida.
Oh yeah, Orlando? Or
North of Orlando, a little small
okay.
city.
Yeah, I'm from Miami. That's where I'm originally from.
What school you went to, Chris?
Uh-oh. North Miami Beach Senior High?
I'm a rocket, you know.
Oh my God. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Let me see. In Tampa, that's like I had a choice to go there or DC when I was retiring, and I wanted to go to Tampa, but it didn't work out that way. In government contract, what's your field of work?
Right now, IT specialist, working with CSUSA.
Yeah. Yeah, if you I think that would be best. It kind of speaks to and I, you know what, since this is we still on break, and those of you who are here, you're here so this is a good discussion, because I've been tooling with this, and the question is, to your question, is project management a skill or a position or certification, right? Because I mean, I think from my perspective, I believe it's a skill we all have. You know, we all have some leadership skills. We know how to negotiate. We know how to deal with vendors. We have those power skills. And I think the job market has a lot of people thinking that project management is a certification and a position. It's like leadership. Leadership is not a position, right? It's a skill. You don't have to be in a leadership position to lead. So you don't have to really be in a project management position to be a project manager, unless the position says, oh, project manager, and that's what they're looking for with somebody with a certification, then that is the case. But, you know, I'm of the mindset that we're all project managers, right? Or we all have project management skills, to reframe it, right? We all have project management skills at some levels, right? Because there's people that have worked in project management positions or in the field of project management for years, like 10, 15 years, and they're not certified, but they're project managers. So I would say in IT, if you're tied in with Mill Mentor and then you're tied in with Act Now when it comes to Career Compass, I would jump in there and get your account set up. If that's the industry, they usually have a lot of job fairs. Act Now we have job fairs. We just had one at MIC. And prior to that, there was one that was online. I think
We have a virtual one. We have a
Yeah,
virtual one
we have a
coming up.
virtual one. So keep your ears to. Do you have a security clearance?
It's expired, I believe.
Yeah. Well, you might want to check that, because that would be my next thing. Is if you have a security clearance, get on clear jobs, clearance jobs. That's what it's called, clearance jobs. That's my spot. Clearance jobs. It depends on where you're at too, as far as clearance wise. But if you're in the Beltway, it's like if you got a TS clearance, you can't throw a rock far enough, depending on what your skill is. I have a pretty niche skill set. I'm a technical surveillance countermeasure practitioner, and there's only like 25 active practitioners in that field across DoD, and you have to go to this specific school to be certified, and only certified individuals could hold those positions. So that's where I was in DC the last 2 years. I just got back in June, back to Texas, but I was working in DC. I worked at Capitol Hill. I was working for Capitol Police, sweeping all the rooms up there on Capitol Hill, and then I transitioned to State Department where I was an instructor teaching that same practice to all the security engineer officers that are deployed around the world to the embassy, and they handle all the technical and physical security at the embassies worldwide. So yeah, I would get into that. Make sure you get on schedule with the next. I think Indeed's a nice spot to look for project management jobs too. If you want to get something specifically, put project management related. Indeed's always been good for me. That's a good spot to go. Make sure you set up your profile. Now we have AI with our resumes. Make sure it has all those keywords in it so you could be found. But no, that's what I would do if I wanted to break into. Where you at currently right now? Last question.
Like as far as city?
Where you working company wise?
Charter Schools USA.
Okay. Do they have any PM positions related within that organization?
Yes, but no.
Okay.
So it's tough to kind of move up a little bit.
Yeah.
And working with students and teachers all day.
You need a change?
Not a change. It's just I was working with a customer the other day and she threw something on the ground. It was like, I can go pick it up. And I looked her right in the face and said, I'm not picking that up. So
No. I know what you mean. I was a substitute teacher here for some time. I was like, it was more of an experiment than me trying to actually be a teacher. But it's rough.
I think everyone should be a substitute.
Yeah, you should. That will humble you.
I think
I did it for 1 year, and it was heartfelt, and it was challenging because depending on where you're subbing, you see the kids, and I was at elementary school, so 4th and 5th graders I was dealing with, and it's a lot going on at that level. Let me tell you, quick story. I quit drinking, in 2013, but I was so worn out. I sent myself to the Dairy Queen every day for 3 days straight and bought a Blizzard and sat there and ate it before I went home. Just a childhood memory, and that's where it took me from each day being in the classroom, so I could understand what some of those teachers are going through. And I was like, oh man, I'll be straight alcoholic. I'll be in class taking a sip while I'm at it. But no, try that out. We'll talk, and let's see what we can do, man.
Roger.
I'm actually going to
Elisa said she's hiring. Elisa says she's hiring for Claire DOD roles. Cough, cough.
Okay. See, somebody said they're hiring. Y'all need to share information. I'll be in Tampa actually the beginning of November. We got an event going on there, so I'll look you up, man.
Cigars International.
There we go. Okay. I hear you. All right, let's do this. Let's take off. All right. Page 158, but section 4.2.3. We're going to start talking about motivational models. So this is another part of leading a team is leadership is influencing, and influencing is motivating people to do things they really don't want to do. And so we have to be miracle workers and be able to use our power skills to get people to do these things. Has anybody ever heard of this? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. All right, this is a leadership theory, right? Leadership theory. Until I transitioned and started getting into leadership, in combat arms, leadership is hard, man. It's there's no sugarcoating. You got angry Rangers. You got SF dudes, we use a lot of profanity. We're very direct. because we work in environments where there's not time to talk about it. Because if you sit there and chat, somebody's gonna get killed, right? So we don't practice that when we're back in Garrison. We act the same way. We're very direct. It's like get it done or move out the way. If you're not doing your job, you're getting fired, right? There's no talking to you over and over on the SF team. If you're not cutting it, bro, your stuff is gonna be in the hallway. It's very hard, right? You have to be ready. But when I transitioned and I took a job at CSRA, I realized real quickly how I was interacting with some of the contractors that were there. And yes, see, and I'm from Liberty City, so you know that's another part of my leadership style right there. Like you got to keep it moving. You know, and I'm short, so
It's real 305. It's real 305.
Well,
So-
it's 954, 954.
see, I done started. So I'm short too, so that has a little bit to do with it too, with my leadership style, right? But where I'm going with that is John Maxwell was what I did to kind of soften me up a little bit and learn how to be a leader in the civilian space, right? I always hear some people out there, some thought leaders are like, hey, organizations don't understand veterans. I would say veterans need to understand organizations because we're not in the military no more. We're only like, what, 17, 20% of the population, right? So we can't expect people to have the leadership training we've had, as much structure we've had, and be hard on them. So we have to understand where they are and what they need. And that's what Maslow talks about, the psychology of that. And that's what John Maxwell did for me. It softened me up. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, one of the books we had to read in order to be a part of that network. So I'm a part of the John Maxwell team. And I had to soften up, Same leadership styles, very forward and assertive, but you have to be a little bit more caring in the civilian space. Everybody's not a combat soldier. So I can't expect everybody to be at the same mindset as I am. So this is one of the motivational theories you will come across on the exam. Write this down. Understanding the stack and self-actualization being the most important, right? People think salary, place to work is more important than anything, but actually from this study with Abraham Maslow, it's actually, what are you doing to empower me as an employee? How are you talking to me? What are you doing to help me develop?
Hey, Chris, are you sharing slides or are you just talking? I'm not saying
shucks.
that because we
You
see
know what?
you again.
Oh, okay, my bad.
This is a heads up. Yeah, no one else said it yet. No one else said it Tuesday, but I did. I'm saying it
I
again.
thought it
this
said
time.
share.
So,
Okay.
now we just see you.
Yeah. Sorry. How's that?
Gospel, thank you.
Okay, got it. Thanks for that. I'm sitting here looking. I'm like, all right, cool. But no, this is the slide. So at the bottom is where the money resides, right? That's where everybody's like, hey, the money. And I actually quit a job because of that. I was getting paid really well as a contractor in Kuwait, getting paid well. But they was like, hey, you guys are getting paid well, so suck it up. And, we had to just live in standards wise. And I felt like I was a tool versus a person, right? And I quit after they gave me a raise too. That's how evil I was with it. And they was slow at giving me my raise. And when they gave it to me and I walked in, they know when you walk in the door and they go, hey, I need to talk to you, and you close the door. They're like, you're leaving, huh? I was like, yep. I didn't even have to tell them. So this is important. So when you're out there, leadership wise, and on the exam, this is the mindset you have to be in. You're going to have scenario questions where it's going to talk about, for example, someone on your project team, they're not feeling like their career is being fulfilled and their production is starting to drop. What should you do as a project manager? What should you do? Deborah. I see hands up. Deborah Clinton.
My apologies. I was trying to find off, like turn my audio on.
Oh, okay.
You
Clinton.
mentioned,
Clifton.
oh,
Oh, go for it.
no,
Go
no,
for it.
no. I'm sorry. I really have a question.
Go for it.
I wanted you to explain the stack. You know, I don't understand that terminology.
Okay.
You said
Cool.
that's the most important.
Okay, so the way this stack works is at the bottom is the least important. So it says physiological needs and project management, such as salary. People always say, "Oh, I want to work somewhere that's good culture," but really, the study says it's not.
I got it. I know what you mean now. You just mean
Okay.
how this is lined up. It's stacked
Yeah.
on
So
top of each
start from
other.
the
Okay.
bottom and work your way up. Self-actualization being the most. So the more you empower people, the more you pour into people, you're going to get the most out of them. All right. The least you do that, esteem and project management, praising employees' achievements and company's mission, giving awards, recognizing people on your project team that's doing well, that's been putting in those hours of work for you. Give them a day off if you have that authority to do so. Jared, go for it.
Hey, thanks. I have a question too about this, and my wife, she's been in the corporate world for a little bit, and I'm a very people person, and my wife continually tells me this, and I want to know your opinion about this exact kind of pyramid. And she's like, Jared, listen, people in the corporate world, they don't care. They don't care if your dog dies. They don't care if you need to go on emergency leave. Jared, they don't care if you have an appointment. You better make those KPIs that you have. And I'm like, and then I argued, I'm like, but that doesn't make sense, because there are certain aspects of the army or the military that if you do have family issues or financial issues, that is going to affect your performance at work. Now, I don't need to go to the deep nuances of how often you wash your clothes or something, right? But if your dog died, I feel you should have the trust in me as your leader to be like, hey, my dog died. I'm feeling kind of crappy today. Hey, man, do you need a few minutes to talk about it? Because if we just are these robots trying to complete all these KPIs, then your exact story of your Kuwait is going to happen. And so I want to hear your opinion or any other's opinion about, is there a line of, yeah, you should be more of a human, or no, this is corporate America and you better produce, shut up or get out. Just your overall opinion as we talk about it over.
Okay. Hey, in the chat, what you guys got? What you think? I think overall there's a line. It just depends on where you are. I think I mentor for American corporate partners. I'm on Mill Mentor also. Based off of what I've learned in my lived experience, you have to control that. Don't expect the organization to be that for you, right? You should be managing that for yourself, right? Because like you said, you are a part of the machine. And depending on where you are in that machine, you're going to get a level of care at different levels. And that's just the reality of it, right? So I always tell people, you manage that. If you feel like you're not being cared for like you should in the work that you're providing, then don't stay there. Find the best next thing for yourself. All right, a couple more. Jeff, go for it.
Hey, Chris. This was not relevant to the question, but more so the Mill Mentor piece. So I've heard you mention Mill Mentor a couple of times. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit, but I tried to reach out to you on Mill Mentor.
Yes.
So I'm glad you brought it up and not me.
Yeah. All right.
So,
you got.
I mean, you didn't approve the meeting or anything. I'm sure you're busy, but I'm gonna reach back out. Is there like a timeline? Because I would love to connect with you, obviously.
Okay. For that, we'll talk.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll talk. Go for it, Ian.
All right. So, in answer to your question, like you want to, ideally, talk with the said project team member, kind of again, almost kind of to what Jerry was saying, kind of like figure out, what is their basic needs, what do they seem to be missing, and seeing, what's in your toolbox to be able to kind of like, fulfill their needs, so you want to show that you're, empathetic. You say, hey, okay, hey, if you're not feeling like you're going anywhere, here, here's what's in my power company tool wise. Say, is it, getting more, training to move up in, the company, get more responsibility, so kind of if ideal, kind of that win-win, kind of like, hey, if I can get you on a path to what you need, can you, produce for me more? To Jared's question, kind of think like a lot of people are saying, it depends on where you come in at the organization and kind of what's been established. What is, and I sound facetious, but what is the culture, and then what is your ability to change that? If you've got enough, say authority or use or influence to kind of, I say, make things better for your team and do that, then hey, go about and do that. And hopefully that becomes infectious. Because I was like some that I experienced when I was in the Navy, we went to a leadership class. So like everybody at our pay grade went to the leadership class, which is great, but we're all there individually, where like in the back of my mind I was thinking like, well, wouldn't it be better if a command went to, or the organization as a whole went to that? So this way people can see the interrelationships up and down, the ladder. Because okay, great, at our level, at the time E5, great, we come back, hey, we went to this leadership class, we got great ideas. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Well, look, here's these rags, get down to the bills, we need that cleaned up and keep it moving.
No, I appreciate that. Thanks for that. No, what Ian is saying is legit. And a lot of you, I'm reading your chat. Some people say it depends. And you're right. If you're at a high salary, and that is, I was just talking to a friend of mine about this yesterday. We was traveling, and once you get up into that those senior roles, 150 plus, 200, 300, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear it, so if you're at that level, and that's why I say that's where I was. If I was a contractor, and if you're a contractor, the other side of that too. There's no loyalty, right? Just saying, if you're a government contractor, you could be in one polo the next day and another one the next, depending on how the money's flowing. But no, you guys are hitting on. I think you got it. So the main thing here, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of need is a leadership theory model you must know for the exam. Here's another one that speaks to Hertzberg, 1959, hygiene versus motivators. These you don't have to know them fully all the way nitty gritty, but just understand the concept of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, know those key points. Here's another one, the difference between job satisfaction and job dissatisfaction. Hygiene factors, working condition, co-worker relationship, policies. So for me, it was working conditions. I was in Kuwait. I was in an open bay with 60 other contractors I didn't know. I was eating from a crappy mess hall there on Camp Arifjan, and I was stuck. I couldn't go nowhere, and I worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? And it was hot, blazing hot, So job satisfaction, when we're making achievements, meaning we're getting promoted, we're getting recognized, we are given responsibility, we're given opportunities to be creative in our work, then we are satisfied at those locations. We like the work culture. So this is another one that talks about job satisfaction versus job dissatisfaction. Here's another, McGregor, X and Y theory talks about, the theory at its high level is that the X assumes most people would not do their work, right? So And then the why is more of those people. Yes, that's the easiest way that I remember. It's a little bit more than that on page 160. But for the exam, just know X is bad, Y is good. It is yes, right? And this is another motivational theory models that you have to be aware of. There are different types of questions that are framed towards these, and most of them would hit on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I haven't seen too many with X and Y, but it's a very, very easy concept for you. So X, you know, is bad. So if the question is talking about a situation where things are not going great and that's one of your choices, then that's probably be the one you will lean towards for the exam. The next one, oh, I went back too far. There we go. Cool. The mindset of being a boss versus being a leader. What's your feedback on that? What are your thoughts in the chat? What do you think? Not to call out your bosses, they more of a leader or more of a boss? Leader's guide. There you go. Bosses pay you. Okay. Leader's guide. Bosses pay you. That's one way to look at it. Yeah. There's some other, like this one here. Your bosses are more of those people that are just all about the work, right? It's cut and dry for them, right? But those leaders are invest in you. They'll do things that help you out. You can always count on them. Hence, I like the graphic, bend over backwards for you, right? So those are the people that would be more of a leader in your workplace versus a boss. So these are just mindset tips that you need to know for the exam. And we are going into this last lesson for the evening. It's pretty short. We got some questions. The last one here is supporting team performance. And there's also some other theories in there when you're team performance wise. Just to get you guys' thoughts on team performance, I know we got some senior folks in here. What have you done? You can either put it in the chat or one of you, if you feel free, you feel led, definitely can speak about it. But what have you done to facilitate building and sustaining high performance teams? Collab teams, okay. Input, empower, open discussions, that's a good one. Empower the team, empowerment. Feedback, always open for feedback. I think sometimes that's a lot of managers or leaders miss that part. Many people just want to be heard. Open the conversation. Don't always direct. And that's the mindset of this exam. So if you come across one of those scenarios where, somebody comes to you with an idea or, hey, we need to change the project, you're like, no, we're not doing that. No, you need to be like, you know what? Let's talk about it. That's a choice. That's where you should be leaning towards opening up that dialogue. Correct. Foster relationships. Like I mentioned at the beginning, you all would not have any issues with this section besides just learning the theories. I think the biggest part with the people section is the leadership theories and the way PMI sees leadership as it pertains to project management. Here's a good one. This is a good one. Good feedback from you guys. Here's a good one. Tuckman's Ladder. Who's familiar with this? Give me a thumbs up. I used to be a medic. Yeah. A negative. Thumbs up. If you haven't, give me a thumbs down. Cool. Down. So I would say if you've been on a team or if you've joined an organization, whether you knew it or not, this is what was going on. Right? This is what goes on. This is literally what happens. People come together. We say, hey, this is what we're going to do. Nobody knows each other. And we start working. And then the ideas start clashing. I think we should do this. That is stupid. That doesn't make any sense. Blah, blah, blah. I think we should go this way about it. That's what's happening. Everybody's competing ideologies from their past experiences. That's where the storming comes in. Nobody trusts anybody yet. You might have pods forming. I'm experiencing that right now with this company, and we kind of have like some law enforcement folks, and then we have veterans, ex-military, excuse me, special op guys here, and we're working together to work on these items, and we're clashing a little bit, but we're still getting along. So that's what's happening in that storming phase. Is people are trying to build trust. We're trying to establish standard operating procedures for the team, and then we're trying to get everybody to buy in. All right, that's what's going on in that storming phase. But then things start to level out. We start to build some trust, and the wings level, and we start flying straight. And then now we start collaborating more. We're able to dialogue with each other. We have some trust. We can count on each other. And that's when the team starts operating and knocking things out at a high level. So if you've ever been in a team and you're always crushing it, that's where you are. You've already went through all those stages. You've already went through them. You've experienced them. But the sad part of it, and that's when everybody leaves, and then the cycle starts all over again. Or the high-performing team gets a new person. So they have to go through that cycle, and this will be, and note this, because this is a scenario you might see in some of the exam questions. You're a high-level performing team, and you get a new person. What would you do? Should you stop everybody and bring them back to forming? Right? Or should you just shortcut it? Just line them up with somebody and have them mentor them? Or should you, as the project manager, help walk them and guide and mentor them through those steps as they build and understand how the teams operate? That would be the correct answer on the exam. Don't delegate that responsibility. That's your job as the project manager. Understand everything the team fails to do or does is your responsibility. You're accountable for it. So if anything that has to do with a project team member, don't defer it to somebody. Don't delegate it to somebody. Don't delegate it to another team member. It's your job as a project manager to resolve those issues. So watch out for that in those scenario questions with people on the exam. There's another one that says, hey, there's a stakeholder has an issue with one of your team members. Well, what should you do? The stakeholder says, fire them. I don't want them here. What would you do? What are you going to do? Like, you're going to tell them no? Well, if you do that, then that might jeopardize the project. What are you going to do? Move them to another section? No, because then you just crushed the psychological mindset of that team member. So what do you do, right? Correct. Mediation. You got to talk it out, right? Feel, felt, found. You know, you gotta work through it. That's that conflict management power skill we have to use. We got to protect our team member, and we got to make the stakeholder happy. So how do we do that? That's the Jedi mind trick. That's the Jedi mind trick. So here it is. Here's a case study. What do you guys think? You discover reoccurring tension between two engineers over task ownership. What's your first step? You can put it in the chat. What do you got? What do you want to do? First step. Go for it. Listen. Okay. Assess the situation. Listen. Sit down. Establish a baseline. Gather information. Communicate. Hear both sides. Listen to both sides. Barbecue. Let's have a barbecue. Be a third party. That's a good one. All right. Duke it out. Okay. Okay. Bring your hat. That's old school right there. Hey, y'all want to? Oh, you want to? Let's go. Bring your hat. Let's go. Put on the boxing gloves. Reference WBS. Okay, that's a technical one. But what do we? But before that though, because that might be the next step. So now we're getting into processes. Meet one-on-one, then together. Okay. What's the SOP? Exactly. Play the rock, paper, scissors. Y'all killing it right now. But all of you in the right mind, facilitate open discussion to identify the root cause. All right? Communication solves problems. That's it. Communicate first, figure out, let's collaborate, and resolve the issue. That's your job. That's the power skill. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Trial by combat. Go ahead, Jared. 1 minute. All right, that's all you get. Jared want to share.
It should be less than 1 minute.
Go
The Michael Jordan documentary, if we've all seen it or you haven't, there's this scene in one of the episodes that Steve Kerr is talking. And the Bulls are doing their stuff. They're winning. Steve Kerr comes to the team. And Michael Jordan's being a bully to everybody. And it's Steve Kerr. In one of the team practices, Michael Jordan punches Steve Kerr in the face because Steve Kerr stood up to Michael Jordan. So they had formed, they were norming, and they were storming. And it caused huge contention. Phil Jackson brought in Michael Jordan, and Jordan apologized to Phil Jackson. A couple of days go by, and if you watch the documentary, you see how this happened. And then Steve Kerr tells his side of the story. And then what happens is Steve Kerr comes in, and he says, do you know what? Me standing up to Michael Jordan and sticking up for myself and demanding respect of me completely changed everything about how we were as a team. Me and Jordan were tighter. We were closer. And then if you know anything about the 90s and how the Bulls work, then he ended up giving the opportunities to Steve Kerr to make the game-winning shot, which he did. And all of that happened after Steve Kerr was able to do the thing. So I think that's a great story. And when I saw that after I learned about this storm stuff, I thought that's a pretty cool thing that he was able to do that. And they went and performed it and obviously did great things. I think that was less than a minute.
No, thanks for that. That was a good one. That's a good one. That was good. No. That was good. Hey, punch it out, right? He just took it out. You know what? I'm getting tired of you pushing me around. No, but that's no. I think I've watched that. That's what The Last Dance, I think it's called. I think that one's called The Last Dance. I've seen that. So
yeah, The Last Dance is one of the episodes. I've saved that and showed my team before, but it's a good one.
Cool. So here we are. Wall-to-wall counseling, yes. That's what happens in our team rooms. Yeah, I've been there, trust me. I've been there with my supervisors because, in our world, it's like dog eat dog, and the currency is life. So we really, we do a lot of work together. We go and hang out together with our families, and everybody knows each other, kid and birthdays. Like, we know a lot about each other, and yeah, it's a big trust thing. And if you violate it, you're pretty much voted off the island. So these are exam tips. I got about 6 of them. So pay attention, mark these back. I'm putting you on game. So this is the game part. I'm gonna stand up because I got to drop this. I had a bunch of soccer team coaches once. Yeah. Oh, that's a whole lot going in AAU world too. Coaches fighting. So here's the first one. Servant leadership is what this exam. Remember I said that the new PMBOK Guide 8 will be more of an agile mindset when it comes to project management versus the predictive approach. And so agile says that servant leader is leadership is the way. You're there to facilitate, you're there to empower, you're there to collaborate. Remove those roadblocks for people. If you have a question and there's some issues going on, your thought should be like, how can I open up the pathway so the team can go through? What can I do as a leader to help them, right? Kind of like a scrum master, you know, you're there to remove those roadblocks. That's your sole purpose. So servant leadership is it, right? Servant leadership is it. Servant leadership is it, all right? Leaders serve first, lead second. So think about that. Here's some other stuff, and you can see the green and the red. Leadership, influence, empowerment, not control, right? You should always be thinking, how can I influence and empower and not control? You don't want to look for micromanaging, trying to command and be a position of authority. Be a boss. You shouldn't be bossing. You should be leading, okay? If it feels like bossing, no, management is leading, not bossing, all right? You manage the processes and the workflows, but the people you got to lead, right? That's what you got to do. The best answer usually reflect a transformational or empowering mindset, right? Transformational leadership, empowering mindset is what we're going for. So next one. When in doubt, communicate first. Communicate, communicate, communicate. If the scenario involves conflict, poor performance, or misunderstanding, talk it out. Let's talk about it, right? Before we escalate. Or, well, I'm going to do this. No, that is the trap of the exam. You come across a question, there's a lot of turmoil going on, conflict. Remember I said, assess before you cross the street. Look both ways, right? Look both ways before you cross the street. And then cross, right? Figure that out. Facilitate discussion versus escalate to a sponsor. Another one. This is more on what we're saying about situational leadership, and the Tuckman's model is understanding the level of maturity. So if they tell you that person is new to the team or less experienced, then you have to, your choice will be, your leadership choice will be applied to that scenario. If they're high level, then you should be thinking more of delegating and including them into that process of decision making. And that's what they're looking for with those type of questions. Which one? Answer the questions. Okay, this is a big one. And you've probably heard me say this before. When you come to a question, you should ask yourself, what would PMI do? Right? What would PMI do? It's kind of like, what would Jesus do? Right? Same concept. And most of the time, if it sounds like a PMI, if you said, man, this is what I would do at work, that's probably the wrong answer. Man, that all this doesn't make no sense. This is what I would do, right? Here's another one. Avoid, force, withdrawal, compromise, right? Anything that's going to be a quick fix. Remember I said, don't deflect or defer the problem. Your job as a project manager is to resolve issues. Your job is to be assertive, right? Your job is to produce. Your job is to make sure the project moves forward, because time is money. If it's delayed, the company's losing value. You're managing this project because they believe in you, that you will produce value for the organization based off of your abilities, your soft skills, your business acumen. They believe that you will give them what they need to make this project come to value for them. And then always try to figure out, okay, there's the issue. What's the root cause? We'll get into, they have a root cause diagram known as a fishbone diagram. It's a little mechanism that you go through and you break down, drawn out process to figuring out what the problem, or you can talk through it in discussion. But that's what you want to do, is figure out the root cause before you do anything. Quick questions. Let's do some quick fire questions. Check on learning. Excuse me. What's the best technique for sustainable conflict resolution? What's the best technique? Throw it in the chat. Win-win, communication, the collaboration. Yes, ding, 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 ding. Collaboration. What leadership style PMI favors in Agile? Servant leadership, servant leadership, servant leadership. Awesome. What is the key factor that drives team motivation? What we got? Self-actualization, empowerment. Yes, yes. Sense of purpose. Yes. All right. What is the theory that aligns with that motivation? What's the one we talked? Maslow. There we go. Maslow hierarchies of needs. Great. What is PMI's role in this? What is the PM role in the storming stage? There we go. Resolve conflict. Build team trust. There we go. What theory, what motivational team development theory are we talking about? Tuckman's ladder. There we go. Tuckman's theory. Yep. Tuckman. Servant leadership, yes, but the best answer, Tuckman's ladder. Right? What is the first response when conflict affects deliverables? What you should do? Communication. Yep. Assess. Communication. Keyword, facilitate open communication to identify the root cause. That's what we have to do. Leading projects isn't just about managing tasks. It's about inspiring people to perform at their best. Here's some of the key takeaways. And you'll have these in the slide. Leadership is influence, not authority. Conflict is normal. Collaborate, resolve it. Right? We're going to have conflict. You're going to have conflict. Right? Serving and transformational leadership drive agility. So you want to help people transform. You want to help serve and lead. Motivation thrives on purpose, autonomy, and recognition. Right? The more we pour into our team members, the more they will do for us. PM's role shifts with the team stage of development. So as the team moves through those stages, at the beginning when you're forming, you probably need to be more directing. Right? You more guiding, laying it out, putting out fires. And then as they start performing, then you could let them run a little bit, give them more responsibility. Let the team lead the way. You know, they say, well, hey, this is what we got going on. What do we need to do? Well, what do you guys think? Throw it back at them. You know, oh yeah, then let's do that. If it makes sense, let's do that. Or like, hey, I like what you're saying. Let's just adjust it a little bit. So last one, communicate and coaching are the most powerful tools. Communicate, right? Whatever's going on in PMI Aurora, communicate is going to help you on this exam. So here's the homework. Homework part 1 is reviewing for what we covered today. Make sure you get your exam content outline. We covered empowering team members. Empowering team members, ensure team members and stakeholders are adequately trained, and build a team. That's what we covered today. 4, 5, and 6, support the team. Team performance. All right, that's what we worked on today. So those are the things you want to cover in your review for Saturday quiz. And then part 2 is preparing for Saturday. So we're going to talk about empowering team members and stakeholders. And we're going to talk about ensuring training competencies and more on building a team. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about Saturday. We have a long session. Task 4 through 7 is what we're looking at. And that should be it. And we'll see how that goes. Any questions? That wasn't bad. That was not bad at all. So remember, if you're in here right now and you did not receive the initial sign in, I'm going to drop it in the chat because I want you to get your time for being here. Also, like I mentioned, I'm going to make some updates to the syllabus on attendance. And, I just want to let's get past that, right? Let's get past the whole attendance thing. I get it. Life happens. I said it. I know it. Life happens. But I want you to get the most out of this. Yeah, I want you to get the most out of it. And that's that part. I'm going to give you the strategy, and I'm going to share the methods and tools and techniques to help you learn. But the accountability part is on you. My goal is to be here, open up early, and stay late. Right? So if you're here, I'm going to give it to you. If you get here early, you'll get it. If you stay a little bit late, you'll get it. So I know we're all in different time zones, and I'm aware of that. So yeah, thank you for your time and your attention. Soon as this process, remember, let me do that because I think some people they weren't here, and I want to make sure we all have it. Let me see. Give me a second here. All right, cool. All right, you guys just see my desktop. The shared drive. I shared the link to the shared drive. I also sent it out in an email. I'm going to share it one more time while we are having this discussion really quick. And it's the shared drive for all the class material. And I want you all to have that. And that's where we're putting all the content. So there it is again. That's the shared drive. And once you get there, you'll be able to see course reference, the syllabus, module 1, which is week 1. And that's where I'm putting everything. And this is where I'm dropping the videos. All right. So I'm going to just do this. And I make this folder because we're done with that. Just call that day 1. Boom. And so we're going to organize that. Boom. And then make it day 2 of the course. And that where you will see this evening's slides and the video once it's processed. If you have that link to the shared drive, you'll be able to go in there and have access to all the material. Reminder, if you're in the school community, try to refrain from sharing links in there because some of those people in there are not in this course. But other than that, I'm hanging out, boop, 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 for a little bit. The after party is now on the way. Those of you who have to leave for the evening, enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you Saturday, 12 p.m. Central Time. Third group. Somebody asked what group I was. A third group, 2nd Battalion. You're welcome. There we go. Oh, the attendance form. Yep, I'll drop it in there. Let me make sure. There
Did
we
you
go.
say the link? Did you say the link to the share drive is going to be in the email? You're going to email it to everyone?
I just dropped it in the chat. I can share it again.
I'll just go back to the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just go. It's right
All
there.
right, I got it.
Yeah, just copy it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Laura, go for it.
Yeah, yes, the quizzes, questions, will they be in the folders or available? And would they
No,
be good
you
for
should
review and
receive you should receive a response email if you have
Oh,
it.
email response. Okay.
Yeah, you should see the response from that.
Let me check. Okay.
Yeah.
And we just have to tag them or put them together.
Yeah.
And then when you complete it, there's a tab that you can select to view results, and then you can print the page from there. So it'll show that to you, so you get your feedback. Because the one that comes automatically when it's done just shows you mostly just the answers that you put in. But if you hit view grade, it'll show you the grades for stuff, and you can print that off and save that.
Awesome.
So you have to paper print it, or can you do it like a PDF or something?
You can do a PDF. I say print, but I usually just save it. I have a print setting for going to PDF. So it depends on the browser that you're using, but you can save it as a PDF and have all the corrected, graded, and then if you got something wrong, it'll tell you like the blurb what you should have chose.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I was just thinking, good. I didn't check to see if I could save it, so that's good to know. Yeah.
Anybody got anything tonight you want to talk about? Let me see. Let me go in. I know where I'm gonna go. Let me go into school. Let's talk about some of the things.
I had a question, Chris.
Go for it.
So, so I was talking to Jared because this is the first PMP course that I'm taking, and I know there's like tons of other ones out there, but I like this one, the format and the way you have everything. It makes sense to my brain a lot more. So once this is done, like at the very end, we take the mock exam, and I was asking before someone else. So I guess you have to be a part of the PMI in order to sit for the PMP exam itself.
No.
No.
You don't have to be a member.
You can get a discount, but I mean it kind of washes because by the time you pay for the membership, that's like I think it was like $160.
Yeah.
But then now the discount you get is if you're a member, you pay $425 for the exam versus paying $600 if you're not a member. But you don't have
use
you
a
don't have
student
to be a
discount.
member.
I see. Okay. So, and then you said that after this, studying all of the coursework and everything, you recommend trying to do that exam within the month after, right?
Yeah, at least give yourself a couple. So this is for everybody. Good question. This is what you should be doing. Somebody's on hot mic. There we go. This is what you should be doing, and I talk about this. So every day, you got to get into this practice, right? 5 to 10 questions, right? Every day, 5 to 10 questions. Quiz yourself. Whatever topic we're on, quiz yourselves. The next thing is, once you get done with this course and you have somebody's hot micing, is that you typing? I'm like, click, 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 click. Once you get done with this course, you will have an understanding of the material, right? So you need to go back and review. Remember the foundation. Foundational concepts. You can't skip this part. Don't skip this. EEFs.
We can't see what you're doing,
Okay.
Chris.
Oh, you know what? My bad. Sorry. I'm sharing. Thank you. She's like, what is he doing? hopefully it'll come through, but
if they click on the three dots, they can
yeah,
ping
go to
it.
speaker, go to speaker view, and you should be able to see my because I'm just writing on the board. That's all I'm doing. Let me just move it forward. But anyway, foundational concepts is what we're looking at, right? That's what you can't skip this part. Don't skip this part. EFs and OPAs, don't skip this. The role of the project manager. I think a lot of people mess up because they don't understand what the theory and PMI's theory, what you should be doing as a project manager. So take this time to go read that, and understand what your job is in PMI's theory as a project manager, because that would help you answer those questions. Because it would condition your mindset of like, this is what I should be doing. This is what my job is. This is the leadership style I should be working in. This is how I should be negotiating and working with people. These are the power skills I should be using. So once you get this down, then it's just a matter of when you get into processes. That's the whole nother step, and we haven't even uncovered that. The processes is where a lot of people have some time, but I have some strategy for you, some methods for you to help you understand that content. And then after the course, it's just practice exams, push-ups. Read a little bit. What is it? Who remembers this from planning? 1/3, 2/3. 1/3 planning, 2/3 execution. Read about 1/3 of your time and practice study questions 2/3 of your time. Because you could read about doing push-ups all day long, but you got to do them. So read a little bit, practice questions. You have the simulator. I think Jared or Jeffrey, somebody was in the thread talking about the simulator, the PMI simulator. So look at that and see how you can use that simulator to your advantage. And then online, there's a whole bunch of free questions. You could type in there free PMP exam questions, and you will find something. You will find quite a few questions on there when it comes to the exam.
I did want to know, so that exam outline, I do see that the one that says January 2021, is that still like a current guide of like, that's an idea of what's still on the exam, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That is.
I was looking through that. Should we become really familiar with that as well, especially because I was gonna just like read through it and try to just also remember through that, like literally like a guy like HRCI and all the other cert stuff. Like they have guides that say like, oh, these are the areas that are going to be most on the exam, so make sure you study these the most. So
yeah, you must be hearing me say that on the first day. That's why I've been hitting it. You should have it printed out. That's what this is.
No,
yeah,
mine is.
You should have this. You should be looking like, okay, this is what I need to be doing in this. And people, if you want to know what's going on in the processes, it's there. Engage stakeholders, plan and manage budget, manage communication, execute project with a certainty. You know, when you go to business, there's 4 tasks.
Okay.
It's telling you what you should be doing. If you follow this, a lot of the questions or feedback I get, people say, I don't know what to study.
I'm just like triple, double, quadruple checking. Because I've had it where like in my MBA program, I had instructors that were like, oh, this is going to be what's on the exams. And then it's like, surprise, It's not.
Well,
So
no,
I'm
that's
like traumatized now.
well, I'm gonna tell you, that is it. I don't PMI
Okay.
doesn't play like that. We
Okay.
they're serious about if they say that's what's on the exam, then that's what it's gonna be
Okay.
vague, but it's not gonna
Yeah.
be but they're telling you which directions where you should be focusing your energy when it comes to practice. So 1/3, 2/3.
Okay.
Spend about 1/3 of your time reading and 2/3 of your time actually working through practice exam. The theory is you need to at least see 1,000 questions. Study, not actually click through them, but actually study 1,000 questions. So that's why I want you to do 5 to 10 practice questions a day. On the weekends, do 50 to 100 because you're trying to develop your endurance to actually take this exam. I don't know the last time any of you sat for an exam this long, but it's probably the longest. Besides all the psych evals I took while I was in the military, this is the longest I've ever sat for an exam. And I haven't sat for an exam that long since then.
How
So
long did it take you for the exam?
I used all my time.
Oh.
Yeah, it's broken into you got into different areas, but you're
Yeah,
broken
well,
in time. So
nowadays it's broken up into. So when I took it in 2017, it was like 4 hours. Get at it. Break when you need to. So you have to manage your own time. I would say you guys got it easy now because they're managing your time, but you still have to manage your time within those time blocks that they give you. So
you
they have
can't
it
go
broken
back.
up. You can't go back. So you have to finish all your work, and then when that break is over, you're starting a new section. So
Is this all done online? Like, is it proctored and done online?
you
or
could
do
do
you go
both. You
through-
could do both. They have an online option. I don't recommend it, but you can do it if you want to. I've heard stories, good and bad, but that's just my preference. I would go to a testing center because you won't have any distractions. But if you're home or you're trying to take it somewhere, I know one person took it in their bathroom because they had a kid.
Oh.
And that's just how they did it. It was during COVID, so it's like you got to do what you got to do to make it happen. But cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Laura.
Yes. If you have a disability, like for taking tests and stuff, do they allow extra time or a lot for that?
I don't know. I haven't.
I can answer that, Chris.
Yeah, go for it.
I only know this because when you go to the PMI and you do the application, because I just did it the other day, there's a giant section literally about what you just asked, Laura. And so you have to provide a lot of medical documentation and you have to have it signed off by a provider. So the big example they gave like 3 sentences about was ADD, ADHD. And it can't just be Jared has ADD. They have to be your instructions. You have to get it signed off by either a BH or whatever people call BH, mental health, psychiatrist, psychologist, or your PCM. And it has to be something specific, like you need for every hour of testing, you need a 15-minute break. Or you have to be allowed a total so much time. Like they have to be very specific. And then once you take that request and documentation, you have to send that to the PMI board and they have to approve it. Again, there's a whole page about it as you go through the PMI application about getting ready to take the test. And then you submit it to them. And then if they approve it, then you can do those accommodations. But that's from the PMI website as I just went through it the other day.
Man, good question.
Awesome.
I did not know that.
Yeah, thank you, Jared.
Yeah, appreciate that. How's that work, Laura? You Jared, answer your question? All right, I think somebody else had their hand up. You had your hand up, Jeff? You had another question? I can't hear you.
Gotta get off mute. Yeah. Yes. So I'm curious how PMP or PMI, so this knowledge base can be used to pivot, or how can it be leveraged in product management space?
Product
Because
management?
product management.
Yeah. It's a they actually have some literature in PMI. If you have, you can actually get a free account at PMI.org. You don't have to be a member, but they have a lot of articles on there. It's an open forum there. They have free webinars you could take about that. But it's whether you are a project manager or a software manager or a product, it's the same methodology. You need a planning framework. You need to apply knowledge, tools, and techniques. Utilize your expert judgment to produce a product, service, or result. The theory is still the same, right? You can apply it. That's another thing I tell people about. When you obtain this cert, for me, when I transitioned, it was about quantifying my skills into something that's recognizable. I had an undergrad in Homeland Security, but how do you quantify, good leadership, work ethic, planning? How do you do that, right? You go get a degree, but even then, we get these degrees, we still have to have certifications. I started building computers in the mid-90s when we had 286s. So what did I do? The first certification I ever obtained was the A+ certification in 1999. So that signaled to the industry that I know how to troubleshoot computers and do some software configuration and help desk work. Then I got Security Plus, I got Net Plus. When we got Networks Online, I got a network. And so when I was at the fire bases, I was an 18 Echo. I was the comms guy on the team. So I networked computers, I networked the satellite systems, I network all that stuff there because that's what 18 Echoes do. They're the computer electrical person, other than next to the medics, we're like supposed to be the second smartest guy on the team. But that's what the PMP is going to do for you. It's going to quantify and just signal to the world like, hey, I know how to do this. And that's what a lot of companies are asking for. So I think in any field, this certification, or let's say project management skills, is prevalent in the healthcare industry. Like PMP, certified PMPs are needed in healthcare. Like they look for that. Not only you being a nurse and a doctor or whatever specialist you are, but that carries a little bit more weight also. Definitely software. But no, I think it's not specific to any industry. This certification is worldwide, industry-wide. You can apply it. I know one of my last students, they came through here through Act Now. He got his PMP. And there's a couple posts on LinkedIn about it. People that are working in media and entertainment, utilizing their PMP to leverage business and get positions. And he ended up I saw him he was in the last, I want to say it was the last Emmys or Oscars on the red carpet with his video camera, getting all the shots. So it's pretty broad. Any field you can apply this certification or these skills too, right? Any field.
Hey, Chris,
Go for it.
Hey, Chris, this is Jeffrey. Well,
All right.
One of the other Jeffreys. There's a million of us in here.
Jeffrey with a G.
Yeah, Jeffrey with a G. All right. I just wanted to know, what's your feelings on for one, I want to say thank you for doing this and putting this together.
You're welcome.
What are your feelings on the need and value in getting Scrum or Agile along with PMP? Not trying to look too far ahead, but I know.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
My feelings. I think it depends on where you're trying to go in the industry. I have, I've worked in Intel with my project management. I've done construction. I've worked in security, and I've worked in IT. I was an IT project manager. I think the newer flavor of management when it comes to these project management, Scrum Alliance got online. They're all theories, they're all management theories. And some people have 4, 15, 16. I started going down that road, and I'm just like, you know what? It costs a lot of money to maintain these certs.
Yeah, and a lot of times.
So if you depending on, like, for me, when I transitioned in 2016, 2015, PMP was it. That was it. That's all there was. But nowadays there's Scrum, there's Agile Project Manager. Also they have the Program Manager certification. So then they have Portfolio Manager. So for me, where I'm at in my career, my next one will be a Program Manager, because I'm a PMO at the company I'm at now. So I'm leveling up, and then after that, I'm gonna go Portfolio Manager, because then now I can move to a higher position in the company, not only setting policies and making sure, but managing multiple programs within an organization. So I would look at it from that perspective, like, where are you trying to go? Because having all those certs is expensive to keep them all up to date. And so far, I have a Scrum Master. I haven't used it in a job per se, and I think that's most of it is, like, what job are you going for and what they want, and that's what everybody's chasing. Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
All right, you're welcome. Ian, I see Ian up here. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? So, I know a couple times you mentioned the PMBOK is going to go to the 8th edition.
Yeah.
So, my question is, now that someone brought up Agile, because I know, like, currently right now there's they changed the rules a little bit, where if you had your PMP, I believe basically you could, based on having your PMP alone, you can pretty much, like, test out and get your ACP. So now if the new PMBOK knowledge base, what you're talking about, the 8th edition, is going to incorporate more Agile into it. So then now, does the ACP go away, or does that now, change to differentiate it?
No, I don't think it will go away. It depends on what. Honestly, I'm in and out what they're doing on the website, in the project management .org, PMI.org, but I don't think, because a lot of people be pissed off because they spent that money and they're keeping the. I don't think it's going to go away, because every year we got to pay. So I'm also a member, so I pay my money every year to be a member. I've been a member since 2016. Then I got to pay.
I just renewed my membership this week.
Yeah, so I got to pay my money for my cert. But no, I don't think it's going to go away, because that means that's a lot of revenue they're going to lose from that. So no, I think it'd be
because
I think it'd get it more. They probably just refine the Agile cert to something specific, where it's just like with the PMBOK version, and they're adding more, because not only are they adding more Agile, they're starting to incorporate AI into it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of the courses, turn up with that, which understandable as far as, like, new tool and stuff like that. But when you say they're incorporating more Agile, so now, already as is incorporates Agile. So I figure the question will be starting to be asked, well, if you already have Agile, you're incorporating more Agile, what differentiates the PMP, from the ACP, if depending on how heavy, how much Agile you're putting in.
I don't know, man. That's a good. It depends. I don't know. That's a good. That's a good question. I'm waiting for it to come out to see what's in it, because that's what, like I say, everybody waits to see what comes out, and then everybody rewrite their curriculum to whatever.
Yeah, because I know just the end of last year, they had changed the rules to where before it was, I believe, you have to, you did your coursework and stuff, you get your PMP, you did your coursework for your ACP, but now they were saying, well, hey, if you did, PMP, which had agile elements, you can just, in a sense, test out, for your ACP. And, I'm kind of paraphrasing, they may have wanted you to do it sometime, but basically you didn't have to take another set of courses or log educational units before taking the ACP. So I was just wondering now, as I guess if you heard anything more, which way they're going, if they're incorporating more. So I guess we'll see which
Yeah,
way
we'll
they
see.
go.
Yeah, we just gotta see and wait on that one. But no, I'll be interested to see, man. Yeah, let me know how they learn. So let me know. Anybody else? What you got? I saw a question up here. I was looking at something. Overall, from leadership, I think most people I know do well in this area. So your main thing, I would say again, those leadership styles. Take some time to read through those. I gave you that document with the 12 principles of project management. Read in there. Also in that the handout folder, when you go in there, there's a folder in there called, I'll tell you right now, it's called blah, blah, blah. It's a handout folder. Course reference. No, it's not in that one. It's in the Mod 1 folder. It says Mod 1 handouts. There's an Agile Manifesto. Read through that so you can start understanding when we get to that part. Project performance domains. Read through those. So along with the 12 principles of project management, there's also the project management performance domains. If any of you are familiar with 10 knowledge areas of project management, that is what the project performance domain has transitioned to, right? There's a graphic in the PMBOK Guide 7 that shows you PMBOK Guide 6 and how it has transitioned and reframe the methodology of what PMI sees as how we go about managing projects. And so that's what you'll see on that page. But so it's the 12 principles, and I want to say it's 8 domains, 8 performance domains. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Those are the performance domains. So look through those. You'll have those. Take a look at those, and you'll be able to see that. As far as leadership, we're going to go over this weekend. More people. So more team building, more leadership, more talking about, I think we'll just dive into a lot of questions. So I'm going to do maybe one of those hours. We have 4 hours. 1 hour, we're just going to go through practice questions. And we're going to start seeing those questions and see what they look like and start preparing you for those type of questions and see if what we've talked about so far, if is starting to stick in for you. And then towards the end, we'll get into the process domain and start getting ready to wrap it up. But I think we're going to probably move forward. I'm looking at this now because a lot of it is leadership. We got to talk about virtual teams and things like that. But I want to get out of there and make sure you have enough time to go over the processes, because that's going to be the biggest pain point for a lot of people. Cool. Yeah, we got done a little early this evening. I think everybody's just busy with stuff. So, anybody got anything else? If not, we gonna shut the party down.
Hey, Chris. So, question, mine is not in terms of the different types of project management, because I've done construction and it was mixed with IT project management. From your experience in terms of theories, how much did it apply? I'm guessing you did more IT project management.
Yes, yeah. The construction one was more of a just managing. I was a consultant for a construction company, so with department, the Corps of Engineers, I worked interface with them. I think I was more of a project coordinator in that sense, not really managing all the day-to-day work, just orchestrating and having the company talk with the Army. And because of my location, that's why they hired me. So,
Okay.
what do you go ahead? What you were saying?
I did. So our project was kind of both. So we had to build structures. I was over in Jordan actually, with khaki. So I'm building structures, but with building structures, we also had the IT element. So for me, it was like I always bounce between expediter, coordinator, and straight up project management, but we call it a technical project management just because we had to go through the course. But it just seemed weird because you bounced all over the place along that whole that spectrum, or the chart you showed yesterday. How likely is that to happen on I would say, I guess, a true project that you're bouncing up and down that spectrum in terms of
Are you talking about the organizational matrix?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now I'm tracking. No, like I said, that's the theory of it, right? That's just the theory, but in reality, it is what it is, and that's why it brings me back. I mean, it's a good topic for tonight, but is it a skill or is it a certification?
For me, it was just more of a skill.
Yeah.
Plus,
So I mean, I think that's what it just boils down to. No matter where you go, you're gonna be a leader. You're gonna know how to influence people. You're gonna make a negotiation. So I wouldn't for the exam.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know the theory.
Yes.
But does the theory always apply in real world? It depends on where you're at. It depends on the environment. The environment's always changing. So I would say, it just depends on where you're at. But I hear what you're saying about. I've been in that role where I haven't been like the primary, especially when you're working. I was working for an IT project manager for the Army Intelligence and Security Command, INSCOM, and I worked with green suiters and DA civilians, so I wasn't really in charge of nothing. They told me what to do. I was in a weak matrix, and I just executed what they wanted done. And if there was an issue, I brought it to them. I gave them my feedback on what we should do to resolve it. And they picked a course of action, and I implemented it. So that was my work, and I just was the go-between to the project teams we were consolidating data centers around the world. So all the different bases, especially in the U.S., I had Texas, Joint Base San Antonio, and then I had Fort Gordon. And so those were my two projects, as I remember. And that's all I was doing. So it just depends. I think you'll be all right. If you want to go, I don't know, overseas, there's a lot of work, depending on what you want to do.
So that's why I got out of project management, because my son was starting his senior year and he had 0 basketball offers. So I had to get back, work with him. Coach wasn't playing him, but we still got him into college to play. Mm-hmm. Now, another reason my daughter, she was playing but just to get them in college. So I want to go back overseas for my own personal reasons, but I need to get back overseas because Jordan was probably the best Middle Eastern country I was in.
Yeah. No, I get it. No, but no, yeah, It just depends, but like the theory is that the theory. That's what I want you guys to know for the exam is that you got to understand the theory, and then part of the theory is reality. And when you're able to leverage the theory to help you manage projects in the real world, that's where you're going to have project success. When you're able to apply the leadership, when you're able to apply these conflict resolution, these team buildings, you'll get people to do more for you. And then in the process domain, when you're able to understand the processes of the organization, whether they're a projectized organization or something that is just put together with departments, a functional organization, and then you understand that where you're at, and you try to work to the best of your ability in that space to bring value for the organization. So that's what we're doing here is learning. At the end of all of this, you've probably heard me say it, I'm not only teaching you what you need to know for the exam, but I want you to walk away with understanding the theory so you could apply it in real world. You know, that's what we want out of this. Cool. Well, anyway, I'm out of here. I see y'all Saturday. If you got any questions, drop it in the message me on school. Drop it in the school thread. I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna be like, yeah, I got an answer for you. And there it goes. So yeah, y'all have a good evening. Thank you for your time and your attention. And when this video process, I'm gonna just drop it in the folder. Make sure the slides, the information on it is good, and then I got some homework to do tonight. So
I want to try to play around with the ChatGPT thing, the prompts you have in there. I saw it in the study hall.
Yeah, somebody dropped some prompts in there. Yeah, so now y'all go at it. Y'all go at it. Well,
I
see y'all.
appreciate it, Chris. I just want to say thank you because this is a lot of time and effort on your part. So this is amazing that you're doing for all of us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I see y'all.
Thanks, Chris.
Later.
It's great.